Hey everybody, so the sides is on the Hogfiddle now. Went on pretty good. Very little to no gap in it. Looks real neat. I still ain't cleaned it up, which I'll get to that in the... Still got little glue blobs here and there, but we'll get to that when we get to the finishing part. So today we're doing step 12, which is to glue the overlays. And like I said earlier, we kind of skipped and done the next step would be the scroll buttons, and we've already done that in an earlier video. So if you ain't done that yet, you can back up and rewatch that again if you've not already done it. But it's pretty simple. Just put your push pin in the large scroll button hole, glue it on, clamp it with a rubber band or whatever you've got, and do both sides. And then after you get the two large scroll buttons, put your push pin through the small one and do the same thing to clamp it with whatever you got, a rubber band or whatever, and glue the small ones on. So that would be our number 13. So today we're just going to go over doing the overlays, and these are the overlays, where the overlays go. See, if we didn't put something here, it would look out of place. Just going up to a ledge. So first thing you need to do is you need to check this little ledge here where you glued your back on. See if you had any glue or anything there to squeeze out. And if you do, just take your knife and you can just scrape it off like that. If you got very little, which I managed to only get a little bit on here, you can take your little sanding stick that you made and just gently sand it until you get the glue off. Let me adjust my camera here. Wouldn't hurt even if it don't have much glue on it, to take your sanding stick to the tailpiece just a little bit to rough it up, and on the end of that back, and then just do the peg head in the same way. So what I'm going to use for an overlay is I've got a piece of I think this is cherry actually, that I'm going to use for the overlay on it. Pretty much all you do is just lay it on there, and you need to mark it. Let me get my pencil here. Need to mark it right about there where you're for the peg head end. Right where this curve comes up and meets the flat. Need to mark it right here. And so you can cut it, whether you use a whatever you're going to want to use to cut it with. You can cut it with your utility knife. It might take a little bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my saw on this to cut this little piece off, just to save some video time. But you could cut it with your utility knife if you wanted to. Alright, that's one for my peg head. Now I'm going to mark the one for my tailpiece. And I'll mark it. Let's see, right there see where they meet. I'll mark it right there for the tailpiece. And I put you a little piece of overlay material in your packet and labeled it as overlay material as your overlay piece. So should be plenty to do it with what I sent you, and the right thickness, so you won't have a great deal of tapering to do. And after I install these, and our next video is going to be the finishing. After the glue dries on this, we'll start with since we already done the scroll buttons, will be the sand and apply finish, step 14. So that's what we'll do next after the glue dries on this. But pretty much all you do is, like I've showed you before, just apply your little glue to both surfaces, lay it on there, and just clamp it down with whatever you got. But I'll put my dulcimore up there on the bench and position the camera a little better. It's fairly self-explanatory on this little I'm going to put me a little bit right in this corner, a little extra, kind of as I did that. See if I can show it to you. See it right in there? I'm going to use that, let that glue be sort of like a gap filler in case I don't have my overlay cut perfect, or in case my back is not cut perfect. I'm going to set this on here. As you can see, I left it a little bit away, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it up. See the glue squeeze out? I want it to do that, so it'll kind of be like a gap filler. I'll just wipe off the excess. But just in case I've got a little bit of a gap. And so now I'm going to take me a little piece of masking tape, and I'm just going to center it right over the gap. And what that's for is to hopefully keep that overlay from sliding backwards and making a big gap. And if it does that, about the only thing you can do to make it look nice is take it off. But then I'm simply going to tape it down this way. Then you can use your, I'm going to use this piece of foam here, I'm gonna lay it there. Then I'm just gonna lay me a couple books right on top of it. And the dulcimore is trying to fall over, but there we go. Just gonna lay it on there till it balances. And if I can find what I did with my other piece, I'm gonna do the same thing down here on the peg head end. If I don't shake it, so probably should have at least got both of them set before, at least stuck on there before I started, but it'll all work out. I should have done that so I wouldn't shake my books off the other end. So I'm just going to spread my glue here. I put me a little bit in the gap down here where the back joins the overlay, so I can have some squeeze out, and I can see by it squeezing out that that side is not mating up very good. So flip it around. That side is a lot nicer fit, so trying to save a little camera time, keep from boring you guys so much. But I'll do the same here. Put me a little piece of masking tape to prevent my overlay from sliding away from it. Put me one sideways to help keep it centered. So on this one, I'll just use a piece of my bubble wrap. And you'll get plenty bubble wrap probably with your dulcimer when I ship it to you, so it should give you plenty to, in case you didn't have any foam or anything like that. So I'm going to put me a couple books on there, but don't turn it all over. And that's about all that we'll do on overlays. Is pretty simple. Basically just sticking them on there and wait about 30-45 minutes. So I'll give this about 30 or 45 minutes and I'll come back and we'll get started. Like I say, we're going to skip the, actually I do have one thing that we need to do on 14, and I had overlooked it until just now. I'll show you where, if you want to put feet on the bottom of your Hogfiddle, I'll show you how to do that. So we'll do, maybe I can make that into a short video, and we'll do that, and then we'll get to the sanding and finishing. All right.